I'm going to start in 2 Kings in chapter 5. All right, it says, now Naaman was a commander of the army of the king of Erin. He was a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded, because through him the Lord has given victory to Erin. He was a valiant soldier. Okay, listen, but he had leprosy. So he had a problem. He had leprosy back in the day was not curable. And it was a terrible, it would take years, but it would basically take you to the point where you couldn't even move, and it would eventually take your life. And so it was incurable, it was awful, it was painful. And this guy, he's this highly successful man, but he has leprosy. All right, now bands of raiders from Erin had gone out and taken captive a young girl. Everybody say a young girl. From Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, if only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy. Now think about for a second, this girl literally taken captive in another country, taken away from her family, away from everything, living a nightmare. And in the middle of it, the people that have caused her nightmare, she's actually bringing hope to them. And it was almost like God put her there. You know what? Sometimes we're mad at the devil for stuff, but we're mad at God for stuff, but the enemy of our soul has actually done it. But God, he is so cool. He does not waste one thing. He doesn't waste anything. We're gonna wait. Are we okay? Everybody's okay? All right, good. All right, ready? He doesn't waste anything. So, if only Naaman went to his master, told him what the girl from Israel had said. By all means go, the king of Erin replied, I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So Naaman left, taking with him 10 talents and took some money, took some bread with him, some stacks. That's funny. That's a little funny. Just laugh a little. Okay. You're like, give her the pity laugh. Okay. All right. Okay. The Bible's actually quite entertaining if you let it be. All right. So the letter that he took to the king of Israel read, with this letter, I'm sending my servant Naaman to you so you may cure him of his leprosy. As soon as the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his robes and said, am I God? Can I kill and bring back to life? He's like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to kill me because I can't do it. Right? And so then he's having this big freak out. And then Elisha is like, well, just send him to me. I'll heal him, right? So Elisha, the man of God, heard the king of Israel had torn his robes. He sent this message. Why have you torn your robes? Have the man come to me, and he will know that there's a prophet in Israel. Anyway, this whole thing happens. He says, you got to go dip 7 times in this river, and and you'll be healed. And the guy's like, he's like kind of bougie, and he kind of like a little bit of a diva. And he was like, well, I don't want to do that. And so he finally does it. But then listen, he went down, dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, as the man of God had told him, and his flesh was restored and became clean like that of a young boy. Can you imagine this guy who's looked really bad, fleshy, things falling off? All of a sudden, he looked like he was 20 years old again. Amazing what God does. And it all happened because of a young girl. All right, ready? John chapter 6. When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, where shall we buy bread for these people to eat? He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. See, when we freaking out, God already has the answer. He's just waiting for us to trust him. It's so funny. He's like, I'm just going to watch him squirm a little. Right? So listen, Philip. It would take more than a half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have a bite. Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. Listen to this. Okay, we're going to feed, there's a crowd of 5,000 people here. We're going to feed them. And Andrew pipes up, this boy, I have a lunch. I have one lunch. Can you imagine the rest of them that's a terrible idea. How are we going to feed? Have you ever been in these kind of meetings? You're like trying to brainstorm, think up something awesome, and someone says the most ridiculous thing, and that's what this is like. This is the most ridiculous thing. Okay, Andrew, but you know what? It's interesting that sometimes the most ridiculous thing is the thing God uses. I feel like I'm preaching tonight. Okay, so here's a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. How far will they go among so many? Jesus said, have the people sit down. There were plenty of grass in that place. They sat down, about 5,000 men. So that's not women and children. So there's probably like 15,000 people here. Jesus then took the loaves. He took it. Listen, he took it. The boy gave it. Jesus took the loaves. He blessed it. He gave thanks and distributed it to those who were seated. Listen, as much as they wanted. See, that boy gave up his little lunch that day, but he ate way more than he had came with. He gave it and then had way more. He did the same with the fish. When they had all had enough to eat, he said to his disciples, gather the pieces that are left over, let nothing be wasted. So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets. See, the disciples were probably busy passing out all the food. The disciples are busy passing out. I love that one. When the hosts come forward at church and pass out. Yeah. That's a good church joke. You know, some of you are like, what is she talking about? People sometimes say that. Could the host now come forward and pass out? You know, like, just waiting. A card. Just kidding. Come on, you guys, I'm funny. Just leave me in thumb. Is this thing on? I'm just going to let it sit a little. Okay, listen. These guys who were serving all day went home with a basket full themselves. There was enough even left for them. Isn't that amazing? Luke 2:41. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. So every year, I don't know where you go with your family. Every year when I was growing up, I went to Saskatchewan. Christopher Lake, Saskatchewan, every single year. What a good time. I don't know, you guys go on vacation to like Kelowna? I went to Christopher Lake. Anyway. Saskatchewan. Okay, after the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Jesus didn't tell his parents. Jesus, he's a bad little guy. He didn't tell his parents he was doing that. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. It was funny. I can't even imagine. I've been given the Lord and I lost him. That's why the Lord didn't choose me, you know. But he chose Mary, who lost him anyway. Anyway, they lost him. They lost the Lord. How do you do that? They did. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. Listen, after 3 days, Jesus was lost 3 days. I mean, social services were called. CPS was out there looking for him. RCMP were after. Like, have you seen this boy? It looks like they had like a little drawing of him. No. Missing. It's funny. This is funny. I can't even imagine. So everyone looking for Jesus, and they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them, asking the questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like that?" "Oh, he in trouble. Your dad's going to deal with you." He's like, "My dad's already dealing with me." Oh. His dad was the father. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, we're going to have fun tonight. Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you. "Why were you searching for me?" he asked. "And you know, I had to be in my father's house." Would you bow your heads? Let's pray. Lord, I need your help tonight. God, I'm asking, Lord, that you would speak. I'm asking, God, that something would be, even tonight, I'm asking, Lord, that out of each of these stories, that something would come alive in each of us. Lord, I'm just praying, God, that your hearts would be open. Lord, we don't want to just have another night We don't want to just patty cake. We're not here to just be here. God, we're here to meet with you. We're here so that you would speak to us tonight. So Lord, I'm asking God, my words wouldn't just be nice ideas, nice philosophies. My words would be your words tonight. Would you use me? Speak through me. In Jesus' name. Everybody said, amen. All right, so this week is called I'm Just a Kid. So I thought I would interview one of the funniest kids I know. This is Asher Larose. Asher, tell us about dinosaurs.
Well, dinosaurs, I know that they only had I know only two periods of them: the Jurassic and Cretaceous.
Nice. Which one's your favorite?
Chasmosaurus.
Nice.
What does that dinosaur look like?
Kind of like a Triceratops. They have like on the thing that's like kind of like a lion's hair around their head. Just it's on a Triceratops like that.
Ashley, tell us about inventions.
So cardboard was invented in 1817. The telephone was the first ever phone invented.
Really?
Yes. Tell us your favorite vine.
The one where it's like the kid going like, friends with the mutt.
Okay, what's your other one?
Friends with the mutt.
Funny one after.
Okay, what's your other favorite one? Oh my God.
This is my pet car. Hey guys, welcome back to my ASMR video. This is my car. My name is Asher. I'm 7 years old and I know a lot of things. I'm the smartest 7-year-old on earth.
What happens when Jeremy and I have a kid? Oh my goodness. I'm crying. That child is like so funny. He said a couple of jokes. We asked him he's like, do you know a joke? And he's like, what did the door say to the other door when he took her on a date? You're adorable. Right? How do fleas travel? They hitchhike. But Asher's like this interesting child, and he says like the most random things. Like one day, Karis was mad because I ran out of milk and I didn't have milk for the cereal in the morning, and she's like, "Oh, I just really wanted cereal." And then Asher, and he has a little lisp. He goes, "It's okay, Karis. It's bad for your skin anyway." You know, like, I don't know, the time he was like, "Mom, I need a rubber chicken." I'm like, okay, you know, like, because apparently rubber chickens get you more views on YouTube. So he's like, I watched a video, how to get more views. One with how have a rubber chicken, okay? So, I mean, he's motivated. He finds out all kinds of information on YouTube. But he's just a kid. But man, he has all this information. He has figured out stuff that I'm like, wow. He learned to read at 4. Yes, because there was this video game he liked, and you had to like read so he learned to read. He figured it out. He would ask Jeremy every day, what's this word? How do you spell this word? And like literally after about like 6 months of this, like every day, Jeremy would he was so patient with him. And all of a sudden, he was just reading on his own. He was 4 years old. Yeah. But I think like, you know, there's this idea that I'm just a kid and whatever is happening to me is out of my control. And what do I have to give? I don't got much. I'm just a kid. But I want to tell you tonight that every single one of you has something inside of you that's been given to you by God. And you are, every single one of you, incredibly brilliant with whatever is inside of you that you just haven't figured out yet. And I want to empower you tonight to like go out and change things, go out and do something, go out and make this world better. I mean, we're seeing it all over the place, like young people being used in incredible ways. And what if tonight we actually saw a whole bunch of young people used by the hand of God? And I just think, what if the hand of God came on us tonight in a new way? What if the hand of God came on you and your school and on your hockey team and your volleyball team, whatever you're a part of in your classroom? What if the hand of God could come on you and bring life and hope to the world around you? You're not just a kid. The Bible says this: don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example to the believers. God he actually believes young people are meant to be the example in life and speech and all these different ways. What if you didn't let your youth, and there's this whole lie out there, well, you're young, you're supposed to go out and do stupid things. Well, are you? I'm not saying that you're not going to make a mistake, because Lord knows I made some mistakes. And that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, do you go out and just go, okay, I'm just young, it doesn't matter, and one day I'll just get everything back on track? But here's the problem with one day, is that when you get to one day, by the time you're finally there, you're so broken that you actually can't fulfill the call of God anyway. And it's gonna take how many years to undo all the things that the world just, oh, you're young, just go out and experiment. Or you could just trust the ways of God. Trust that he's good, and he wouldn't tell you to do something if it wasn't for your good. I'm preaching. Is this okay tonight? You are gifted, and you have something inside of you. And the world doesn't just, it's not just a nice thing that for you to bring out, like to allow what's inside of you come to life. It's actually needed more than ever in any time in history. All right, so this, number one, we're gonna do Life is a Nightmare. This little girl, she was a slave. She was literally kidnapped. She would be a story we'd hear about. Oh my gosh, the tragic story of this girl kidnapped and brought into some other house, right? She's the story of it could have been a tragedy. It could have been awful. She could have been there and she could have just been so sad every single day. But instead, she uses that time for God. Instead, she uses that time to bring life. It's interesting that she tells the guy how to get healed. So after being kidnapped and put into a full-on nightmare as a slave, as a young girl, a slave, she still believes in God. Her faith wasn't moved because she understood who her real enemy is. The enemy of her soul put her there. But God is so cool that he doesn't waste one thing. He uses it and he goes, okay, this terrible thing happened, but you know what? Now she's a missionary in another land telling people who've never heard of the God of heaven, telling this guy there's a healer, telling this guy who was desperate, who didn't know what to do. Go back, if only you knew about the prophet. This little girl who's in a nightmare is still remembering about the prophet who healed people, about the prophet who brought the word of the Lord. She still remembers her time in God's presence. Isn't that so cool? How many people are in a nightmare and instead of praising God, they're cursing him? And that's how we live. Oh, well, if this is my life, then and then how can God be here? Well, God's everywhere. And unfortunately, we're in a fallen world, guys. It ain't perfect yet. Oh, but we have this hope. And I've read the end of the book. I know how it ends. He's coming back with fire in his eyes, sword in his hand. He's coming back. And we have this hope that is an anchor for our soul. We have this God in heaven who will set everything right. He will take the enemy of our soul and he will put him in the pit for eternity. He's gonna do it. And actually what turns people into amazing people. The most amazing people are the people that walk through a nightmare and still praise. And they go, okay, this is a nightmare, but there is still a dream in my heart. And God still has a dream for me. And just because I'm in this circumstance, just because injustice has happened, doesn't mean God's left me, doesn't mean God's forgot me. He's here, he's with me, and I'm gonna bring hope to this nightmare. This guy goes off and he gets healed. I wonder how this girl's treated after that. She is queen. We don't hear of her again. But without her, this story doesn't happen. Without you, there's people that are looking for a healer. And without you, they don't find him. It's time. Some of you are in this room tonight. I'm spending a little extra time here because I feel like some of you feel like this. My life is a nightmare. Where are you, God? And I'm here to tell you he's right with you. And if you will take the hope of glory that's inside of you, and if you will give it to the people that you're surrounded with, maybe it's your home, and your home is a nightmare. You can turn that nightmare into God's dream for your life. You can change the atmosphere of your home. You can bring hope. You can bring life. This is good tonight. Is this good? Is this okay? Okay. You can walk through hell without the smell of smoke on you, because you live in the shadow of his wing. You are hidden in Christ. You are concealed in his presence. That's what the Bible says, high on a rock. And even though the enemy is all around you, with the power and presence of God, he cannot touch you. And you can turn that hell into heaven. You can bring heaven to earth. Preach the gospel. See what will happen. Tell people there's a healer. Is this okay tonight? Second thing is, it's just a lunch. That's all I got is a lunch. Okay, but you know what? This boy, he's just a young boy with a lunch. That's it. I mean, can you imagine him? He packed his lunch that morning. He's like going, oh, everybody else hungry. Can you imagine him? Everybody like staring at him. And he's like, you prepared my lunch. I came prepared. You all should have thought of this, you know? Got a little lunch. I wonder what the boy was thinking, you know, when Andrew is walking around like going, what are we going to do? What do we, I don't even know. You know, the Lord's like, oh, we're going to feed him. Okay. It's not like there's McDonald's back in the day. Like, no, there's nothing around that's going to feed him real quick and cheap. Even McDonald's now is so expensive. Right? True. Except for those McTasters, they're only $3. They're amazing. Anyway, I love the $3 McTaster. You guys are so quiet. You're just like listening. That's good. Okay, so he's in there with his lunch. Andrew's like, what are we going to do? I don't know. I hope there's lunch. And the guy's like, yo, can I have your lunch? What? Who takes a little boy's lunch? Can you imagine? It's kind of like Zach tonight. Okay, I know you got not much to give, but will you give to what God's doing next week? And so this kid gives up his lunch. He surrenders what he's got in his hand. And Jesus, he takes it. Are you ready to get what you took? Or is it yours still? I don't want to give it up. It's mine. What if I give it up and then God does something that I don't want to do with it? What if I give up my dream of this or that or the other and I don't want to do that? Are you ready to let him take it? Because that's what he wants to do. That's the first thing that happened. He took it and then he blessed it. See, what you got is not blessed until you let him take it. You want your voice blessed? You want your little life blessed? You want the things that you do blessed? You better let him take it. It means you gotta say, okay, Jesus, I trust you, and I know that I don't know, it's not much, it's just a lunch. Here it is, and he takes it, he blesses it, and then he makes a miracle out of it. I'm preaching way better than you're clapping. He takes it, he blesses it, and a miracle happens out of it. What if your life could cause a miracle? See, Jesus, he can do whatever he wants, but he wants to come on your little lunch, whatever that is. You got a lunch tonight? You're on a sports team tonight and you think that athletic gifting is yours. Well, what if you let him take it? What if you let him bless it? And what if your whole sports team comes to Jesus? What if people on your sports team who've been struggling with suicidal thoughts, what if they get healed? What if they find the hope that they've been looking for all their life because you give what you got, you let him take it, and he blesses it. Somebody, you got to let him take it tonight. I'm preaching. Is this okay? You go quiet. Okay, I'm gonna land plane. You ready? Oh, sorry. And then the end of this, you think that when God takes it, then you're gonna have nothing left. But actually what happens is there's more than enough than you ever dreamed of at the end of it. I'm gonna tell you something. As a young person, I let God take what I had. At 13, I let him take what I had, and it wasn't much. I let him take it. I let him take my little sports abilities. I let him take my little friend group, my little popularity that I thought it wasn't actually mine. And do you know what, guys? If you've been given some popularity, you could actually let God take that. And it could actually, instead of it being about your name, it could be about his. And instead of you being a flash in the pan and having a great time in high school, you could actually affect eternity. And I've just been letting him take it. Take it. Can I tell you, at 42 years old, almost 20 years marriage, 3 kids, ministry life, all the things. I can tell you, I've just been letting him take what I got over and over and over. And I'm telling you, I have a life that's so much more than enough and so much more than I ever dreamed of. And it's not because I'm so great. It's just because I just kept letting him take it. Let him take it tonight. All right, this last one is Jesus. I'm alone in the world. Anybody ever feel a little lost? You ever get lost? I lost my children a few times. I lost Asher. I lost Garrus once in a parking lot. It's terrible. Don't tell anyone. Oh, and we're edit that from the video. I'm a good mom, I promise. It's okay to laugh a little. Guys, I just feel like there's something on this. Like, this is Jesus. He got away from his parents and he just went to the house of God. They thought he was lost, but he was really found. Some of your parents are always like, why are you at the church so much? Because you just got this heart of Jesus. I must be about my Father's business. I had to be in my Father's house. I just had to be there. I just needed to get there. Because that's what his Father's all about. Our Father in heaven, this is his business. You. That's what the church is. Me. You. Us. Together. fulfilling the plan and purposes of God on the planet. That's it. It's not this structure. It's us together doing something beyond what we could ever do on our own, with the hand of God and together linked arms with one vision, one heart to see a world lost and broken, one to Jesus, healed, free. That's it. I must be about my Father's business. I'm wondering, some of you feel alone. I want to tell you, there's a church here. You don't ever have to feel alone. There's a people here that love you. There's a family of God. There's a family that you can be found in. There's a body that you can serve with. There's a bride of Christ that Jesus is madly in love with. I must be about my Father's business. Tonight, I'm wondering if there's some young people that would just go, you know what? There's a million other things that I could be about. But you know what? Here's what I'm going to be about. My Father's business. I'm going to be about people. I'm going to be about Jesus and his church. I'm going to be about seeing my friends found. I'm going to be about my friends free. I'm going to be about a world that's healed. I'm going to be about a world that's full of light and not darkness. I'm going to be about a world that's full of God's presence. I must be about my Father's business. What if that spirit just got in us? You know, there's a show I used to watch. It was called Extreme Home Makeover. Ever watch this show? Move that bus. Move that bus. Ty Pennington, he was so cool. I like that guy. And he was like all energy. I was like, I like Ty Pennington. He was just like always yelling. And I was like, it's me, not. I just felt like, someone else is loud. And anyway, so I was like, Ty Pennington, move the bus. And he would take these people that lived in these terrible homes and he would give them a new home and they would be like amazed. And it was like it was like cool. It was such a heartwarming story. Do you know that the reason why Ty Pennington quit that show is not because of lack of viewers or funding? He quit because one after the other, he would go back and find these people and their homes would be worse or this like exactly like they were before he rebuilt. They would actually literally take that house and destroy it. See, Ty Pennington, he thought if he gave him a new house, it would help the people. But the problem was not in the structure. The problem was their hearts needed to be healed and changed. And you don't change a world by changing the structure. You change a world by changing souls. And there's a movement out there that just is like young people are all about, and I'm not against saving the earth. I'm not against it. Like, I think, yes, let's do our best. Let's not be idiots and let's steward and whatever. But here's the problem. The problem is not with what's going on the outside. The problem is not the earth itself. The problem is the people in it need the healer, need the rescuer. And I must be about my Father's business. My hope is not in this earth. My hope is in heaven. My passion is not anything else but souls. Would you bow your heads tonight? So Lord, we just thank you for your word. And Lord, I just pray that you do something right now. Tonight, some of you need to say yes to Jesus. You've never met him. This is maybe your first time here. Tonight, if that's you, you want to get right with God. You want to know him. You want to be about your Father's business. You want forgiveness of sin. I want to tell you Jesus bled and died on a cross of thieves for you. And he rose again on the third day for you. Tonight, you want to get right with Jesus. I'm going to hands up in the air. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Hands up. Hands are going up all over this room. Saying yes to Jesus, yes to Jesus. you pray this prayer with me? Everyone, lift your hands with these. Say, Jesus, thank you that you went to the cross for me. I believe in you. I want to follow you. I want to live for you. Would you forgive me for everything I've done wrong? Wash me, cleanse me, make me new. In Jesus' name. Amen, amen. Just give God praise tonight.